Hi, my name is Carrie, and today I will be answering some questions about grief. So our first question is a good one. It's a broad one. It's what is grief exactly? And grief is one of those words that we use kind of interchangeably with a bunch of other words, and people mean different things by it. So grief is our reaction to a loss. And so that can be a death loss, which is usually where we go. Grief can also be related to a non-death loss. We grieve all kinds of things. We grieve the end of a relationship. If a relationship is broken down, a divorce occurs. We grieve the loss of our identity. If something changes in our life and the person we thought we would be is no longer the person we are. We grieve the loss of a preferred future. Sometimes when things change, what we thought would happen didn't happen. There's all kinds of things that we can grieve. It's helpful to think of the phrases that I usually use with folks are what once was is no longer. And sometimes we grieve positive changes too. Your kid graduates from college and moves out on their own and goes into the world. That's a big celebration, but there's also some sadness as they move sort of further and further away from being at home. Or you switch houses and have a new home that you love, but the house where all your kids were raised and grew up in, that's a different home. And so you can grieve no longer walking those hallways. So there's a lot of things that get wrapped up in grief, and I think sometimes we refer mostly to death, but it's bigger than that. And then occasionally you'll hear the word mourning as well, which is the outward expression of the grief that we feel. So the crying and some of the rituals that we go through. So the next question is it normal to feel numb instead of sad after a loved one's passing? So for this question, what I will say is any question that relates to grief that starts with, is it normal? Most of the time I'm going to say yes, whatever the answer is, because there's no specific pattern. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. You know, if you use the cliche of we're all snowflakes, grief is a unique experience for everyone, and oftentimes it gets reduced to sadness. But grief is a massive range of emotions, so it is perfectly natural to feel numb. It's perfectly natural to feel angry, to feel relieved, to feel all of the things at once, and to feel nothing, and to interchange all of those things. And one of the biggest misconceptions about grief is that it is just sadness, and then people feel guilt and shame when they feel other things. So knowing that it's normal to feel a whole range of emotions hopefully will make people feel a little bit better, to know that they're not doing it wrong. So the last question is, why do I still feel lonely when I'm surrounded by people or when people try to help? Because grief can be isolating, sometimes we have different needs at different times. Sometimes what we need is to have the uniqueness of our grief recognized, that no one else has been through this exact experience before, even if they've been through something similar, that our grief is unique and special in this moment. And we sort of want it to be all about us. And that's one way we can get some connection and to feel a little bit less lonely, is when people don't try to make it a universal experience. They focus on our experience at this time. And then there's other times where grieving people actually want and need the opposite, which is they want connection and community of folks who get it. So sometimes this can be really helpful in the context of, say, a bereavement group, where one person shares an emotion or a story or an experience, and then other members of the group connect with that and go, I know what that feels like, that happened to me. And they realize that they're not alone in that experience, that other people have had it too. And then they feel less alone through the connection. Interestingly enough, there are times where we want it to be sort of completely unique to us, and other times where we want it totally normalized and generalized to this is what everyone goes through. And it's important to get both of those things at different times.